Okay, here is Town Topic. And Town Topic is a 15-3 and a half hand, so just under 16 hand, 5-year-old thoroughbred mare, which by Aldrin, which is a Malibu Moonline. So really sporty, athletic little mare. Also just extremely gorgeous with the big white blaze and four stockings, and she really just has a gorgeous look about her. So she's just continuing on her journey of learning to jump. So we headed out to the jump field, which is honestly mostly where I'm riding her right now. I'm sort of having fun having a horse who's ready to be ridden in the jump field because this is the first horse I've ridden out there since winter. So it's been nice to be back out in the field. I do get bored of riding in the ring. And she honestly really likes it out there. So I feel like we're having really good productive rides out there. She's having fun, I'm having fun. So we're just keeping it going out in the jump field, and this mare just has the most incredible canter. It is so balanced and uphill, and obviously she's sporty and she's athletic. She's a good mover. She's all the things, but she's really she's not hot. You very much get to put your leg on, and her pace is very self-regulated. You certainly do not feel like she is trying to always go faster. That is not the case. In fact, I'm very often feel like I'm sort of like putting my leg on and squeezing her forward, which is, to me, that's just a great place to be. She's happy to work and do the job. She's athletic. She will go forward when you ask, but you do get to ask, which is, I think, makes it all just so much easier. So she's easy to ride out in the field, honestly, because if anything, it just sort of helps get her in front of your leg a little bit more, but you still very much get to keep putting your leg on the whole time, which is awesome. So I mean, it's kind of a boring ride. Basically, what we did was, well, you're watching sort of the tail end of our warm up right now. We had some crazy, crazy wind and storms over the last week, so some stuff was all blown around that Billy was sort of rolling pipes back into place and things like that when we first came out there. So sort of miss videoing the little trotting part of the warm up. But honestly, I do tend to jump to the canter so quickly with her because the canter is just so, so lovely. So anyway, we're finishing up our warm up here, and then basically we're just gonna trot over some logs and an X on a loop, and we're working on all the basic things, right? The big three. We're working on balance, we're working on straightness, and confidence. And so, of course, confidence comes from having good experiences. So that's always the name of the game with all these horses at any level, honestly, but especially with such a young horse. So sometimes we're coming in the trot, and sometimes we're coming in the canter. It just sort of depends on well, oftentimes I'm asking her to keep coming in the canter, but if she wants to break to the trot, that's certainly absolutely allowed at this stage. So sometimes she's wanting to trot, and that's totally fine. And then other times we're coming in the canter, and of course we're going to make every mistake. We're going to run the gamut of lessons to learn. So sometimes we're going to get really, really close to the base. Other times we're going to leave out a little bit. And sometimes, you sort of get like the sweet spot area. Uh, my job is just to sort of try and stay balanced and out of her way and let her figure out the footwork. And of course, as you would expect with the horse who moves this balanced, it's not terribly difficult for her to figure it out. It comes quite naturally to her. I am a really big fan of letting horses walk over things as much as possible. But actually, I will say that is not really, hasn't really worked for me with her. When I've tried to walk her over a lot of things, if anything, she actually gets a little bit stuck. So sometimes you have to change your plan based on, well, you always have to change your plan based on the horse you're riding. So even though I prefer to walk over a million things a million times, she actually doesn't really like that. She prefers just to start coming in the trot. So that's what we've done. And so if you saw that X, that was the first time we went to that X, and obviously it's tiny, but there's shadows behind it. She's not seen it yet. So I sort of came in the canter, but then she told me she wanted to sort of slow down, and she stayed straight, and her feet kept moving, but she needed to take a good look at it. So there's just absolutely no problem with that. So now we're coming back around. This is our second approach to this X. So she's seen it once. So I'm hoping we're going to have a confident, and that was much better. So of course, I was coming in the canter, but she told me she wanted to come break to the trot again, which was fine. But that time she kept a much more forward thinking, confident trot, which was great. And then really cute to her little log. Now, obviously, she's super athletic. She's going to be able to jump a really big jump easily. Uh, but I certainly don't want her over jumping little tiny logs and cross rails and things like that. That's definitely not what I want her to learn. So, I know it doesn't necessarily make the most impressive picture or snapshot when she's not over jumping these things, but it's actually in her best interest to learn that you don't need to jump crazy high over a little tiny log. And that was her third approach to that trot, and so that time she nailed it. That was really cute, and of course she did the change to the left over it, so that was excellent. And then right to the base there, but she stayed straight. Very clever footwork. I absolutely love that. And just in general here, sort of her canter just feels super, just really balanced and soft and light and just fun to sit on. And just for anybody watching who's wondering, she sticks just under 16 hands, and I'm 5'9". So obviously there's a little bit of an overjump there. So she's sort of showing off her scope a little bit, which is going to happen from time to time. And, that's natural that sometimes a young horse, a green horse, or a horse that's impressed by something is going to overjump. Totally, totally fine. I'm just trying to encourage her to, maybe you overjump it the first time, but then let's tone it down and jump it with a more appropriate level of zest after that first time. So now we're coming back over this a couple more times because now I want her just to dial it down a little bit to figure out that actually this isn't that hard. It doesn't require that much attention or that much effort, and just to sort of jump it at a normal level of zest. And that was super, super cute. And then that was perfect. I actually don't know why I'm circling her back to this again. I feel like now she's jumped it perfectly twice, but who knows what I was thinking in the moment. We were just having fun. And at this stage of the game, it's kind of just like, these jumps are so small. There's no wear and tear on them at all. Jumping the size jump, they really can't do it enough. All these little jumps, figuring out the footwork and building their confidence. It just doesn't hurt just to do it a zillion times on repeat. And that was really, really cute. She really makes an adorable shape. And that was very good, right to the base. Another one right to the base, very clever. And that log is actually sort of, obviously it's a tiny log, but it is coming down on the downhill grade of the hill. So, for a horse, this is only her second time ever jumping. I think it's a little more difficult, for them learning to jump on the bit of a slope. It's a little bit of an ask for such a young green horse, but she was super about it. So first time to that X changing direction. So I asked her to come in the canter. She wanted to break to the trot to make sure she had enough processing time. Absolutely great. Good decision. Jumped it really cute. That was totally adorable. A little bit of a steering discussion there. I love her frame here. I love that her poll is up, her nose is out. She has a really cute, happy expression on her face. And she is starting to feel a little bit tired at this point. So I'm thinking that we are about to wind things down. Really cute again. She does jump that particular log really adorably. And actually turned around in that direction is again, that's on the downhill grade of the hill. Adorable. What a good girl. I'm really happy with her. She's tons of fun.